You've been doing brain retraining and you're excited because you've been seeing slow but relatively steady progress and finally feeling confident that you are on your path out of ME/CFS or Long COVID, and then bam, seemingly out of nowhere, you crash. You get a massive symptom flare that levels you, and understandably, you are probably devastated and very confused, wondering things like, was all this progress I thought I was making in my head? Am I actually getting nowhere? Is this my fault? Did I do something wrong? Am I back at square one? What is happening here? Here's the plot twist. Recent studies have shown us that not only are these major symptom flares that happen in the midst of making significant recovery not only normal and okay, but actually expected and likely a sign that you are firmly on the right path and almost fully past this. Hi, I'm Raelan. I spent a decade living with ME/CFS before fully recovering and read hundreds of books on the topic of health and healing before I finally understood what was happening here. And this is incredibly eye-opening and reassuring stuff. So in this video, I'm going to explain what the science tells us is happening here, why this is happening, and then what you can do about it. Okay, first, what's happening here? The easiest way to understand this is to look at a study that was done with rats. They put a bunch of rats in a cage, oh, those poor rats, and they gave them a lever or a lever if they were British rats. And when they pressed this lever or lever, they would get a pellet of food. So this really is brain training in action. In time, they saw that every single time they pressed this lever, they got a pellet of food. That neural pathway, that automation in the brain was built, lever, food, lever, food. But then something interesting happened. The lever broke and it no longer delivered food. So this is actually brain retraining in action. So now they would press that lever or lever and they would get no food. So slowly over time, they started pressing it less and less because that behavior was no longer working for them. And then you would think it would just slowly taper off in a nice sort of linear progression, and then that behavior would just be gone altogether, and that neural pathway in the brain would be gone. But before this behavior extinguished for good, before that neural pathway was completely gone, seemingly out of nowhere, the rats would begin frantically pressing the lever, now I'm confused, harder and faster than they ever had before in one last-ditch attempt to get this behavior to work. Because our brains are efficient and you might call them lazy, but they really want to hold on to these things that have been working for them. So it gives it one last all-in attempt to see if they can get this thing to work. Kind of like we say old habits die hard. This is called an extinction burst. Alan Gordon, a psychotherapist who specializes in the treatment of chronic pain and other symptoms and is the founder of the Pain Psychology Center here in California, talks about frequently seeing these extinction bursts with his clients. I remember towards the end of my journey with ME/CFS when I really knew that I was firmly on my path out of this. I was doing well, but just every once in a while, I would just get this crazy onset of symptoms and I would be crushed. And it felt like I was just like, I'm past this. Why am I here? I'm past this. I've been doing all the work. I've already graduated past this place. It's like I was in grade school in grade 11 and then someone suddenly catapulted me back to grade 6. It felt like whiplash and I just really didn't know what was going on. How I wish that we'd known then, that I'd known then, that this is a predictable thing that happens that has been clinically studied and observed and is okay. And if you really want to do a deep dive on this topic, it is fascinating. You can read all about it in Alan Gordon's book, The Way Out. Okay, so let's get to the second really interesting part. Now that we know what this is, that it's an extinction burst, let's look at why it's happening. With mind-body conditions, we know that an important part of the brain retraining process is to recognize and know that your body is okay and that these horrible symptoms that you're experiencing are essentially false alarms. And the brain retraining is in your reaction to these symptoms. So not reacting to them with fear and essentially paying as little attention to them as possible. What is happening here with these extinction bursts is that when you take away the symptoms reinforcement, so the pain, the paying attention to them, the pain and the symptoms actually get worse, before they go away. These symptoms, as we know, are danger signals from the brain, and when you ignore them, you are taking away their ability to work. And the mind doesn't like to lose a defense mechanism any more than a rat likes to lose his lever-pressing behavior that delivers food. So it will give it some last-ditch, all-in efforts to make this mechanism work. As they say, old habits die hard, and your brain is clever. So it might change things up a bit. It might shift the symptom to a new place or give you a different kind of symptom in any last-ditch effort that it can to try and make this work. As Alan Gordon explains it, if you stop reinforcing these symptoms and they come back, don't panic. It means you're on the right track. All right, the third thing. So now that you know what's happening, why it's happening, let's look at what you should do about it. This is the absolutely best part. You don't need to do anything, or rather, just stay the course. Everything you have been doing is what you continue to do in your brain retraining journey. Just ignore those symptoms, as pesky as they are, and just pay as little attention to them as possible. React neutrally and keep reminding yourself that you are okay, you are safe, and your body is physically fine. As Alan Gordon says, when you take away the pain's power, it is a behavior without a purpose, and its days are numbered. If you are struggling with brain training and you would like some more tips, you might like to check out my self-paced online course, Brain Retraining 101. It's a bunch of evidence-based principles, strategies, and tools to maximize your brain training success. Know that you can find 99% of my stuff on the internet for free in various formats. But if you'd like a more structured, detailed approach that includes regular group calls with me to support you along your journey, you might like to check on my online course. There's a link in the video description to learn more, and I'd love to see you there. Hi, I'm Raelan. When they pressed those trains, they really throw me off. One day, Hansla, I'm gonna move to like a rice field in Bali or something. It's gonna be quiet. It's gonna be so quiet. You'll never have to hear me talk about trains again. Crazy dogs outside. Rice field in Bali. That this is a predictable thing that happens that has been we will get there. Okay. Lovely. Are essentially so close. Oh, I've got this. I can do this. I can do this, right? You believe me? No wonder I'm so tired at the end of these days. This is a lot. Like running that 10K took way less energy. Oh my goodness, that is so true. Why did I move by a train station when I have a YouTube channel? That's a wrap. We did it. High five. Give me a high five. Bye everyone. Bye everyone.